Thank you very much, Dr. Basalira. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you to the session today. And if you're joining for the first time, very welcome. This morning, we are here to talk about building resilience in business. And the topic is building resilient tourism business in times of crisis and uncertainty. Whereas we are going to listen to somebody that is operating in the tourism sector. I would like those of us that are not in the tourism sector to learn about building resilience in whichever sector you're operating in, because we are operating in a world that no longer offers us guarantees. Whether you're in tourism, agriculture, manufacturing, services, disruption is the constant. Today it is COVID-19, tomorrow it is Ebola, the day after, we don't know what's coming. It may be climate shocks, it may be the geopolitics, it can be anything. And one of the things I want to mention here is that these crises normally just come unannounced. They don't ask for permission. They do not respect sector boundaries. So the crises come in different forms. And so the question is no longer if a crisis will hit your business, but the question now is how will you respond when a crisis hits your business? And that's now we want to talk about resilience. How do you build resilience in times of uncertainty? And resilience is not just being about a very strong player in your space. It's not about the fact that you've been around for a long time running that business, but it is about being adaptable. And in being adaptable, you must be able to anticipate. And like what we're saying this morning, that we need to expect anything to happen. And so we need to keep looking for any early indications of what is likely to happen. And then building financial muscle, and then of course adapting means that we are able to change quickly when things happen, repurposing our assets, finding new ways to serve the market, especially when old ways do not work anymore. And I can also say that resilience is not a destination, but it is something that we build over a period of time, especially when we keep learning from what has happened to us. And that's why I'm excited this morning to invite Mr. Bonny Kagaba, who is our speaker today. And I'm going to introduce him to everyone. So Bonny Kagaba is the team lead and co-founder at Likana Safaris in Uganda, a sustainable and premier safari company running safaris in Uganda, Rwanda, and Tanzania. Bonny is behind the creation and leadership of an innovative e-commerce platform called Electronic Business Ecotourism Portal, which is a transformative innovation that connects underserved and unserved Uganda's ecotourism sector digitally to improve market access and also enhance rural tourism digital inclusion. He secured a 95,000 US dollar grant from the Uganda Communications Commissioner under the e-Booster program to fund that innovation for scalability. He is also the director and team lead at Ayad Consults International, a management consulting firm both in Uganda and the East African region, with a footprint in the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Finance in Tanzania, and Ministry of Finance in Tanzania. He is a PhD student and a lecturer in the Department of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at MOOBS. So this means that Bonny is an academic staff at MOOBS and also an entrepreneur. As an early career researcher and innovator, his research interests are in the fields of entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, women and youth entrepreneurship, refugee entrepreneurship, tourism enterprise development, climate change, and business environment impact assessments, as well as the emergence of green business enterprises alongside sustainable rural development. He obtained his first degree in entrepreneurship and small business management in 2017. And by the way, he got a first class degree and also later a master of science in entrepreneurship in 2021 from Makerere University. He's the node leader and country lead for the Inspire 2ES network, an Australian based international platform for pitching research matters. He's a research assistant at the International Lymphedema Framework, an international UK-based organization working with the Makerere University School of Public Health. He's also a research assistant at the African Innovation and Entrepreneurship Research Hub at the Nottingham University Business School in Nottingham 20 University, UK. So I can say a lot about Mr. Bonny Kagaba, but I believe he's also going to tell us a lot more. We at MOVES are very proud of Bonny and the amazing job he's doing. And so I would like to welcome you, Bonny, to make your presentation. And so we look forward to learning from you. Thank you very much. Bonny, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Diana, for a great introduction as well, and our host, Dr. Edith. Thank you so much for the opportunity together with the Entrepreneurship Center to host me this morning to share about a very passionate topic. My name is Bonny Kagaba, just like Dr. Diana has introduced me. But the most important thing that I'm happy to be back home. The Entrepreneurship Innovation and Incubation Center is my maker, and that's where my whole professional journey and entrepreneurship journey started and actually continue to thrive. And also on the other big note, I also teach in the Department of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at MOOBS. So today, dear listeners, I'm here to speak about building resilient tourism business in the times of crisis and uncertainty. And I'll definitely give the broader perspective of what's happening to us in the tourism and hospitality industry, because that's where we are playing. And then I'll try to be also able to anchor what our experiences and lessons have been moving forward. So without wasting time, I wanted to also speak to the fact that we have been running Likana Safaris Uganda for now. It's coming to 6 years. And I think most of the crises and uncertainties have happened in our presence. So it's very, very important. We are carrying some bit of experience, even with the current ones that are continuing to bite. So it's a pleasure, and I welcome everyone in your capacity to this talk. And I will definitely start with the fact that you know what is happening. I will not define resilience, and I will also not define crisis. I will also not define uncertainty. But from wherever you're seated as an entrepreneur, as a business person who's running business, you have your own way of what resilient means to you. But I just want you to imagine in the world of hospitality and tourism, when they tell you that the world is stopping to travel. The fact that that statement can be issued by international agencies like, for example, the WHO, CDC, Center for Disease Control Africa, and maybe the United Nations also coming in to support. You literally have nothing to do, even if you've built a strong, resilient framework as a company. So for us at Likana Safaris Uganda, I think I also told the team to join. We have navigated consecutive global crises, from COVID-19 to Ebola to geopolitics, conflicts as well, and the market shifts. And still trying to run the ball, around our field. But the key message is resilience then is not the absence of crisis, but rather it's the ability to keep moving through it. I could not be really knowing how your businesses in the different field, maybe in the agriculture, they can try to maybe to tell us, maybe when there is a bad harvest in terms of drought, they can refer that to as a crisis. Maybe the price fluctuations as well, those could be some kind of uncertainty things which can actually affect their business operations. But for us, a year can start very well with very, very active bookings. But all the way, an emergency happens, even far away from your home, but definitely it will have to bite into your operations. So basically, it's that we are going to talk about. And generally, before I begin, I wanted to give you some bit of the facts about an economy called Uganda, in as far as also tourism is concerned. For example, tourism in Uganda earns close to 1.6 million arrivals at Entebbe International Airport. Actually, if there is no double counting, for example, if you're taking all the business tourists, the leisure tourists, and maybe people that are just visiting friends, we can close to go to almost 1.7 arrivals in Uganda. And that is the latest statistics in 2025. Another very, very important statistic you need to know this morning is that close to $1.6 billion is earned from a sector called tourism. We are talking about 5.83 trillion, bringing in new money in your economy. And that one, of course, is not leaving your growth, of course, behind, puts it, the gross domestic product, at almost 6.2%. That's a big, significant growth as well. And close to almost 800 and plus thousand kind of jobs being created for the young women and young people in Uganda. But the biggest thing before actually we dive into the discussion is that when you try to look at which thing brings in forex in the country, it's called tourism. When you want an economy to thrive, you need to have a well-balanced balance of payments where you're having some, dollar earnings or pound earnings. And what brings it after coffee? It's entirely tourism, because you should know that when a farmer has grown coffee from Captura and he has processed it or not, packed it to Europe, they will definitely give him some money, which is not Ugandan money. They will give him what we call forex. But again, visitors coming to see your country and enjoy it, they can also bring in money in terms of forex. So it's a big forex earn as well. But lastly on this is that I wanted to tell you that tourism is a whole every man's business. It connects the whole chain of business. It gives money to accommodation, airlines. It gives jobs to housekeepers, to farmers as well, pump attendant, and including government as well. So that's the business that I wanted to really speak about. And when I'm going to talk about the crisis, you could actually probably feel a little bit concerned. Picking it from there, a boat like that at Murchison Falls National Park, it can carry up to like 10 people. And those are not Ugandans, for example, apart from the guides and other people that are supporting. But these people, wherever they are coming from, each person brings in money in terms of visa application. So if there are 10 people, meaning every single person has given Ugandan government close to $50, so that's $500 earned just for these guys to just visit Uganda. And the government has already earned its money. But they buy air tickets, let's say from an airlines company, which pays taxes, maybe 18% VAT. And they start now spending money in Uganda. Let's say if they are staying for an average of 7 days, those are like 6 nights, and each night maybe is is around $150 or $100 per night, just on bed and breakfast. And that's the whole value kind of chain. By the time you move them to Murchison Falls to see the rhinos and they pay $60, they see the rest of the animals at $45 every 24 hours. They take the boat at 32. So that's the whole economy now moving. And now, in the face of crisis, for example, like Ebola, like America putting you in what we call do not travel in that category, you're going to lose out on that money when you've not done anything. Because even the cases, they say, according to WHO and also Minister of Health, for example, Ebola was not actually in Uganda. These were just imported cases from Congo. So I wanted to give you a real critical kind of lens what happened in our business. I carried this email, and of course I try to respect the data protection, but I wanted to just give you this and you try to contextualize what a crisis means for a business that's not even creating it, but out of the blue you have it. Cancel trip for Brent and Rory Ford. And I'll read verbatim if for those that are not seeing my screen. So on a fateful day on 2020, on 22nd May this year, an email comes, and I think Michelle is online. Michelle is our operations lead and reservations lead. She receives most of the bullets, but also I'm always in copy. So a client from the US says, "Hi, Bonnie. The United States has issued a level 4 on May 17th alert for travelers going to Uganda and the Congo. They have said all flights coming into the United States with travelers from Africa will have to go through the Dallas airport in Washington, D.C., and people will have to have additional screening by the CDC and may be quarantined for 21 days. In light of this situation, Brentford and Lorry Ford are canceling our trip with your company for dates June 10th to June 24th, 2026. We would like the $13,706 returned to us. You have been very helpful with the coordination of this trip, and we are disappointed that we cannot go. We hope to come sometime in the future when circumstances are better. Sometimes events happen outside our control." This was a trip that was supposed to have close to 4 people, 5 people, and each one was paying close to 2 people were paying $13,000. So, and actually, they eventually all cancelled because these ones were communicating on behalf of Lorry Ford, but also they also cancelled. Shireen also cancelled. So we lost close to 150 million, and then they wanted actually that money to be refunded. Now, what is in your terms and conditions as a company? And that's where your resilience now starts from. Because we say that if the safari was starting on 10th and then these guys were canceling the safari on 22nd, and in our terms and conditions, we said if you cancel 3 weeks to go, we definitely refund you 50%. So we had to calculate all the money, and actually we said, and now almost 10 to 12 emails of this nature came in 1 week, and you're counting close to $45,000 in Equity Bank and Absa Bank, and you're filling in the transfer form, returning the money because of the reputation. That's what I just wanted to relate what resilience could mean in the face of crisis and how do you cope with that. And yet you have operation expenses moving forward. So what is now resilience, and what does crisis also look like in the eyes of a tour operator, in the eyes of a hotel person, in the eyes of an airlines operator, in the eyes of a travel agent, in the eyes of name it, whoever is in the value chain? Tourism, I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, generally speaking, tourism depends on confidence. And Uganda is not a mature country. A mature country is a country where there is even crisis and still the airlines are full taking people to that destination. For example, if they told you today that there is, for example, influenza or a certain kind of disease in the UK or the US, and you have your ticket already in your bag, I'll tell you for a fact, whoever is listening, you'll definitely board and go to the US. But because Ghana is not a mature country like the way you see some of the countries like South Africa and Tanzania maybe, and also Kenya, they will definitely cancel you out in case they just had you have a small flu called maybe bad flu. Clients will definitely caution and be cautioned and actually be advised that don't travel to Uganda. And do not travel to Uganda means for an international client, especially in Europe and the US, it doesn't want to compromise his insurance. By the way, it's not that those people cannot travel. They can travel, but just they travel and anything bad happens, they are not insured. That's what it means. So I wanted to tell you that the business in tourism, for example, is interconnected and it has a whole chain, what we call a safari chain. And it does not happen in isolation. Number one, airlines. Of course, before the airlines, there is a tour operator or an agent behind speaking to clients, marketing, and interesting them to visit a country called Uganda. So there you have airlines. For example, Ethiopian Airlines, Uganda Airlines flies to Gatwick every 4 times every week, London. And then from there, of course, when you arrive, the borders must be very safe for the travelers. Health concerns have to be in check. Security itself must not be compromised. Lodges must be ready to welcome these people, and the confidence itself. Any disruption along this value chain anywhere, it impacts your entire journey before a traveler arrives. So then I want to take you through the perception of a traveler, what we call the perception paradox. See, even when a destination remains very, very completely safe, I will tell you for a fact that fear and uncertainty can deter travelers from taking the journey. And tourism is fundamentally a confidence business. People must feel deeply secure before committing to the international travel. That's why now everyone is asking us, is Uganda safe? But if I ask you, how many of you can say that Uganda is not safe? That's because the international media is tainting Uganda as a country, probably with also the fact that also there are certain isolated incidences. You know very well, last two weeks, I think last week, and also the other month, we had some urban kind of gangs that ganged on people. One was the player for rugby, I think Sydney, was killed in Intinda in broad daylight, and these stories were shared online, and of course they may not go up to the travelers, but of course CNN or BBC or Al Jazeera or New York Times can read up and report about them. The recent one is the one for Ori David, the captain for SC Villa, was also killed, and and the stories actually were running around. So if people are perceiving your destination not safe, you have nothing to blame. It's you to blame yourself as well. So, and that's what's happening. And I wanted to really, really paint that picture, for example. Let me take you through the 4 crises that I've ever witnessed running a business in the tourism sector and running a brand called Likana Safaris Uganda. Number 1 was COVID-19, and you know very well what happened. And I remember that's when we just set up. I remember my friend Mustafa, I think he's online. We were starting up a business, and we were talking about things to do with how do you set up a business just in the middle of a crisis. Number 1, actually, businesses really, really collapsed, especially in the sector where we were. We were coming in when every single person was thinking about closing because completely there was no international travel. Why am I talking about international travel? Because in our business model, by the way, our biggest niche is into the inbound tourism. We basically focus on Europe and the US. Tourists that are coming in from outside Uganda. We do a little bit of the domestic travels, but they are really, really not our biggest strong kind of niche. Now that we are waking up in the crisis, we are thinking otherwise to see how best can we also harness and leverage on that. Number 2, Ebola outbreak. You remember that Ebola actually has been here, and that's why Uganda prides in taking a very, very strong kind of strides in the fight against this Ebola. 2022, also around May, if you can remember, the Ministry of Health announced that we have Ebola in Mbale and Namisindwa. And let me tell you, fear travels faster than any other fact. And of course, whenever WHO gets information from Minister of Health, it will definitely cause the whole disruption in the market, moving forward. So the lesson here for us has been being proactive in communication and telling the truth to the client rather than just minding about money. And we've seen this. Just an Ebola kind of announcement can definitely lead to so many things that can happen, and you lose business just in the blink of an eye. Let me also talk about another global crisis in terms of instability. Conflicts thousands of miles away from your home can disrupt airspace and flight routes, for example. So local tourism alone directly operates within a complex global macro network, and it's what I want you to always know. Much as you're not even in this tourism space, you should know that a war in the Middle East, a war in Doha, directly impacts Entebbe International Airport. And I will tell you why with some bit of statistics as well. So here, Dubai alone, Dubai and Doha combined every single day, they channel out close to 85 flights coming to Africa, 45 of those ones coming to East Africa. And I need to tell you that Emirates flies to your country called Uganda close to 6 times a day. And then also that's Qatar Airways also brings in close to 3 to 4 flights every single day. We're talking about Airbuses coming when they are full. And remember, Middle East, it's not just a business hub, but it's a big entry route for Uganda, especially to Europe and America. You know very well that your economy called Uganda and the international airport called Entebbe. There are no direct flights to Europe apart from one in Gatwick, which started last year, May. And you have no evidence that actually you fly to New York. That means whoever is coming from New York, from Dallas, from Texas, from Washington is definitely going to either connect through Dubai or Doha, or is going to take a longer route, either going through Addis Ababa with Ethiopian Airlines or coming to Kenya Airways, because Kenya Airways flies 3 times to New York every single day, and also to London 3 times every single day. That's why you will see arrivals in Kenya. You cannot measure them against Uganda because you don't have so much business out of your country to Europe, which is actually a big source market. So that's when I wanted to tell you about that. So don't celebrate when the Middle East is closed. Like, no, my business, whether they fight, the war alone between Iran and Israel and America has caused total disruptions. And when you go to the numbers, you'll be shocked to see that actually tourism is way back affected, including you who is listening to me. Lastly, on this is the source market shifts. When the United States wakes up and putting your country in what we call category 4, level 4 of travel advisory, they are bundling you with Yemen, Afghanistan, Congo, Somalia, Russia. And that means all its citizens are forewarned about traveling to a country called Uganda. So changing visa policies and travel advisories alone create a lot of unpredictable demand. And of course, here we've learned that you should not become reliant on single market. I have friends that have concentrated on America as a market alone. It has really turned out to be sour. They have sent close to $1.5 million back. I didn't tell you how much we sent. I think Michelle can give you statistics, but we sent back to close to $45,000. That could be for a small business like us. It's something very unfortunate. And what pains me is that, of course, in tourism, we are not cushioned like other businesses. If you have such a crisis, government does not come to you to rescue you. Actually, there is no short-term kind of support, but when floods go to people's shops in Kampala, the minister of Prime Minister's office goes to give maybe 100 million to these people. For us, they announced a crisis. The country is back to normal. Whoever I talk to, they tell you, but the border is done. Aren't you guys making money? He doesn't know that these people prepare prior 6 months coming to your country just than making any decision of buying. So those are some of the crises that are happening in the eyes of the Kenya safaris, and I've seen how best we have definitely moved into that. And for COVID-19, number one, we definitely had to adapt quickly, reconfigure operations and the cost structures. You know very well later, tourism was considered as an essential business, and we were told to operate remotely as well. But who would actually want to travel to a country where the whole global health is in a crisis? Protecting relationships, of course, supporting staff, guides, and lodge partners as well, because you definitely need to either take the jabs and maybe social distance, tell people to work from home, keeping the constant communication to the clients and postponing trips and stuff like that. Before you know it, we were rebounding to, actually, you should know that by the year 2024, tourism in Uganda, statistics showed that we had gone back bigger than even the pre-COVID times on 2019. We had welcomed as so many people as we could not even imagine by the year 2024. It became as a result of confidence, marketing, and then, of course, giving assurances as well. So I need to tell you that when you definitely do that, you definitely have an interest from your clients. I remember even this year when Ebola news was everywhere, America closed it. We kept on talking to our clients. And one big case I picked is one for Kristen Emil from the US. This one had paid a very, very expensive trip, close to, I think it was around $27,000, because they had to track gorillas both in Rwanda and Uganda, and Rwanda gorillas are around $1,500 per person, and their trip was going close to 15 days. It was a high-end kind of trip. I kept on talking to Christy because she was the one in contact. I was like, Christy, please don't cancel. I said, Bonnie, we are not going to cancel. But what you should know, when we go back to the US, we're going to be quarantined, we're going to be screened. And then, of course, instead of flying to Texas directly and New York, we are going to be going through Washington, which is not our choice, but we will come. On a good day, these guys actually had to travel to Uganda. And when I was there, they called me and they said, we are here. We are at the airport. And definitely we ran that safari. So what has to do with you as a tour operator? Confidence, talking, trust, being honest. telling every single person that is in your clientele database that everything is okay, is in check, government is trying to do ABCD. I tell you, we had to become government spokesperson. I thank Aaron Kasuja. He tried to really do everything, but maybe we were let down by other people. So Ebola managing perception. You need to know that in Uganda, for example, the national parks remained safe. Everyone remained safe, even including you guys in Kampala. I saw business was normal. But the international media, CDC, Focus on Africa, BBC, Al Jazeera, they were hitting Uganda a hard way. They were bundling us with Congo, and that was very unfortunate. Before you know it, a client is sending you a text. They are saying that you have 27 deaths today. How is the situation in Kampala? Actually, tourists and clients for our company became more concerned about our health than even their health, because for them, they were not traveling. They were like, are you guys okay? So what did we do? We had to monitor, of course. Every single day, I would wake up and go to the website for CDC, WHO, if there's any communication from the Minister of Tourism, UTB, get all the screenshots, send to the clients. I'll tell Michelle to write to every single client that either booked with us, prospective going to book with us, and those ones who were already running the safari. So you have to really, really communicate. And that's what it means. That's resilience is shaping you every single day. And you need to reassure that everything is okay. And being able to adapt, because now when the clients canceled, we had to basically change also our terms and conditions. Right now, our terms and conditions read that in case of cancellation because of health, disaster, war, we do not, of course, cancel the trip. We can postpone if it's possible with you. But because these guys send us money prior, by the way, we do logistical needs earlier, buying gorilla permits. Government does not refund money. Some lodges also don't refund the money. And then you're buying accommodation in time, you're doing everything. But also, look in the eyes also of the traveler. He has already booked Emirates and he's not coming and he's canceling. Luckily for them, insurance works. So we're talking about now a business which is maybe not minding about what insurance is. Now we've learned what insurance is, and we have to go fully into our insurance kind of support. The key takeaway is that in a crisis, you need to be very transparent in the information. You need to get sourced, reliable information and actually send it to the client. And then you need to become part and part of that product than itself. So, as I conclude, in a global crisis which is happening far away from your home, it becomes a local crisis if you're in tourism, hotel, restaurant business, airlines, transport service provider. Just know how remote you are, it doesn't mean, but it will have to hit you hard. So the war in the Middle East, don't celebrate, because airspaces can be closed. Even right now, I want you to, after this lecture, after this talk, go to Entebbe International Airport and look at their flight tracker. You'll be shocked to see that it's only Uganda Airlines arriving from Zambia, from Monrovia, from where, because Doha and UAE has closed you because I think you've just finished 42 days of the Ebola, and they're not yet sure if maybe your destination is still safe. But America closed you completely. So you face issues of rerouted flight. Now people have to go either through Addis or through Egyptian Airways in Cairo or Kenya Airways, which is a big kind of cost to them, longer travel times, and there's no single client who want to connect flights more than once if it's coming to your destination. So actually, you should be happy. You should be happy for the management of Uganda Airlines right now. Is trying to, trying to see how best we can partner with other Star Alliance members in the travel to get international flights directly to Entebbe without connecting. Clients don't like that. Higher fares. I remember I went to London in April, and I was going with Ethiopian Airlines. On a normal day, Ethiopian Airlines takes you to London Heathrow at around $700, even if you booked closer to the flight. I booked my flight at $1,500. That's way expensive. And because spaces were closed, that was in April when the war was so huge, you couldn't use the Middle East. You were not sure whether you'll definitely continue. Hesitant travelers, reduced bookings, and all those ones become big crises for you. What are we doing? Diversification is not an option for us now. We are not relying on one nationality. We are pushing, we are diversifying our multiple airlines partner. We are telling clients to book, to look around. We are suggesting international flights, which are bringing them to Uganda in a cheaper way, in a good way. and then also being able to provide circuit safaris as well. Um, I want to end with the Likana Safari's model of resilience. Number one, we are diversifying. By end of this year, we are in full gear to expand our market demographics. I know we run tours in Rwanda, Tanzania, but we want to go to Kabale, and we are doing a feasibility study in Kigali and Kabale, and we want to set up now Likana Safaris Rwanda, because Rwanda remained very safe, and travel advisory from the US was telling, go to Rwanda, don't go to Uganda. But Uganda is near Rwanda, Chanika border, and of course Katuna border. They're just close, and people cross every single day. But we were being abandoned, and Rwanda was near Congo than even Uganda. So we want to set up, because Rwanda is marketing. Right now, they have entered into an international deal with Aston Villa Football Club in the UK. That's a huge market, and we want to tap into that as well. So, as a way of diversification, when Uganda becomes bad, you're still running business. Number two, being agile, quickly modifying routes. And actually, by that, that's also what we are doing on diversification. We are selling Tanzania as well. And then most of our itineraries for the rest of the 6 upcoming trips from now, they all either start in Kigali or end in Kigali. So we are selling now 2 destinations, and you're giving options to clients other than selling Uganda only. And that's how it's safe, and that's how we are managing. Being agile, quickly modifying routes and schedules, and of course strategies, and as conditions shift, you need to be very flexible. You need to be very flexible and be ahead of the game. You should be ahead of the game. You should know where is government communicating, what is the Minister of Health saying, and if you have incoming trips, you need to communicate directly to the client. Building trust, providing guests with travel agents with honest travel, timely kind of actionable data. We have a travel agent in Spain, in Madrid, and for him, he sends us business without negotiating. The clients even don't know us. They just know that we shall handle business on behalf of Travel Machine. The question he was asking me, Bonnie, are clients safe? And I have to say yes. And what does your yes mean? So building trust, and actually all of the safari from Travel Machine in Spain, they remain uninterrupted because of the trust, because of the honesty. We had to tell them on ground, Bidalamu, So you have to definitely be that, and then also build up the partnership. I remember Uganda Wildlife Authority told us to also to go for cancellation, for rescheduling the gorilla permit. So we had to reschedule for those ones so that we don't lose money. So that's the partnership. So they must know you. You must be a compliant taxpayer. You must be a compliant, operator. Uganda Tourism Board came in as well to speak to us, telling us, things will be okay. But if you've lost money, things can't be okay. You're speaking to lodges. I think as I speak now, we have our trade credit with lodges close to $5,000. Lodges that didn't give us back money because in their terms and conditions, they told us we shall bring new clients, otherwise they can't refund. So those are some of the things that are definitely happening, and then also having purpose. You need to safeguard wildlife and conservation beyond profit. So the local communities are the ones that you should protect more in our resilience model, and that's what we are doing as well. So lastly, Dr. Edith and whoever is listening, for us, resilience is an ongoing practice. I'll tell you for a fact. For us now, we are in the world of anticipating. If it happens, you adapt, then you communicate, you collaborate, and then serve with purpose. And that's what's happening. But lastly, I want you to imagine the guy who has invested close to 1.5 billion in managing and arranging for Tusker Light Marathon. By the way, I invite everyone to go and register and run in Kasese 2 weeks from now, I think 1.5 weeks. And then they are telling him, your destination has Ebola. Do you know? The guy has put, and this is Amos Lucas, has put in a lot of money marketing it. I think even ahead of closure for Uganda, I was in Canada speaking about the marathon. And you're saying you cannot come. And no international traveler wants to risk his life for that. So that's what's happening. And from the eyes of where we sit, resilience, crisis, uncertainty are part of our business model. That's what I can share. If you're in any other business today, don't be too comfortable. I don't know what is going to hit in your sector. Because for us, we didn't create anything. Anything can just happen, whether you're a farmer, whether you're in a carpentry business, whether you're in a school business, even schools. I think whoever is running a school should be knowing what I'm going through if I'm sharing this story, because you were also at a risk, of closure. Because in May, that's when the term was beginning, second term, and the government was like, okay, what do we do? So be ready and have a resilience framework in your company. How do you definitely get in, communicate, and be able to run through? Remember, they are closing your business down because of external shocks, but you have workers to pay, you have salaries to pay, you have operation expenses to pay, you have taxes to pay, and no one is coming to your rescue. Business is not for faint-hearted, especially in the tourism space, and I think in every kind of business as well. But if you're an entrepreneur today, learn a lot. You need to be ahead of all international kind of information because you should not be taken by surprise. Thank you so much. We are resilient, Dr. Edith and Dr. Dana, and everyone listening in. Maybe my last takeaway should be, if you can speak to government, please do. If you're in an area which needs support, because the government is the biggest, is our resort in case things go bad. Thank you so much. I'm always happy to be back home and share. And I'm very, very humbled that Entrepreneurship Center continues to arrange this for entrepreneurs to learn and learn and then be able to speak. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless MOOPS and God bless Uganda.
Wow. Mr. Bonny Kagaba, it's a pleasure hosting you again in this Become a Better Entrepreneur series. Very informative presentation. We appreciate you. You've been very proactive, energetic, and I think everybody who is logged on this morning can believe that in all sectors, we need to be resilient. We need to be very resilient because there is a lot of crisis in many operations. I like your opening remark where you said resilience is not absence of crisis. It is the ability to keep moving through. Indeed, it is the ability to keep moving through and bouncing back. When we talk about Mr. Bonny Kagaba, agility is in him. He's been agile, and I'm happy in among the different things that you've talked about, among the strategies, agility is coming out very clearly that you need to quickly modify different ways and strategies of how you have to bounce back into operations. We appreciate you, Mr. Bonny Kagaba, and I would like to congratulate Rikana Safaris for the 6 years now in operation. You've done a lot, and we can see from your experience that you shared that a lot is going on. Thank you for finding time in your busy schedule to accept to come and make a presentation on this very important topic. I think we wouldn't have got any other person to present building resilience in business. Thank you very much, Mr. Bonny Kagaba. I know I always get excited when Bonny Kagaba is presenting because we've seen him grow. We who have been in MOOPS, we've seen him grow through our hands, and he has progressed very fast. We appreciate you, Mr. Bonny Kagaba, and congratulations on all the achievements that you've made. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we have a lot to interact with Mr. Bonny Kagaba, some comments, some questions. I would like to open the discussion and allow me to invite Mr. Andrew Ngwen to handle the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Dr. Edith. Thank you so much, Bonny Kagaba, for that insightful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Q&A. In case you have any question, you kindly raise your electronic hand or you type on the chat. We shall be in position to see it, or on the Q&A section. So I want to start by the questions in the chat from Professor Ernest Abajo. I'm really fired by the presentation. Maybe I'll read 3 and then Bonny responds to the 3 as others come in. So Professor Ernest Abajo is saying, I'm really fired by the presentation. It's real and strengthen insights about entrepreneurial resilience in the sector. Please suggest interventions that Uganda can be adopted to strengthen the sector locally. That's Professor Ernest Abajo. And then Growis consult to everyone. It's a question to Bonny. Thank you for the presentation. Question: you mentioned Rwanda advertising. They have much less than we do, yet they are more visible than Uganda. What advice do you give to the powers that need to change? What do we need to change? I think that is what Growis is trying to mean. Rwanda is advertising more. What is wrong with Uganda? So, Bonny, I think you can respond to those 2 questions as others come in.
Okay, thank you so much, Andrew. I'm humbled. So many good comments are coming through and questions. Professor Baho, straight away. Professor Baho has been my mentor, and I've always shared with him what's happening in the field. Very, very hot discussion. But I think, Prof, number one is Uganda. I think locally we need to be very intentional. Disease outbreaks will happen. Terrorism will definitely be there. Geopolitics will definitely shape the narrative. Airline disruptions and climate-related things, all those ones will happen. But rather than just responding after a crisis, what do we need to do? I think we should really be in pre-agreement with every kind of protocol. And I think number one is if we can create a tourism resilience fund where, for example, after some of these crises, because government has these statistics as registered tour companies, registered hotels, and through UTB. I think I saw my deputy CEO there, Mr. Samora, online. They all know us. They have the database. But where do you run to? And by the way, you may not necessarily need money, but also advisory kind of stuff. So number one for me, I would suggest that if we could have established maybe a national tourism crisis and resilience framework to just see, because now it's not that these problems happen in isolation to Uganda alone. Other destinations also face this, but we are protecting a sector that is bringing in money, creating jobs. I'll tell you, between May and July, many companies issued contracts of course, others remained resilient, but many people were giving these young people and boys and girls a regret, say, we don't know what will happen, first go back, and you don't need that to happen to someone who is earning a salary. Number one, for me, if we should have that standing kind of mechanism to how do we respond to such crisis, because Professor, I will agree that why would the Minister of Health communicate in isolation without asking the sector players? Number one, let's say the guys in exports, tourism as well, the education sector. Do you know what would have happened if they just said Ebola is worse? And actually, it's not. I'm not saying diseases are not there or what, but what would happen to parents that had just paid tuition, school fees, proprietors of schools? So I think they should always follow this framework, sit, agree, and then say, okay, this is it. We are communicating in this direction, and we should communicate as a destination. We should not communicate as this edges as that. It should be well communicated as well. Maybe number two, the resilient fund. If they could maybe cushion some of these guys with recovery loans and maybe restructuring support, it could be great. But then also diversifying the tourism market as well. When you look at the framework for tourism, Ghana Tourism Board, of course, our biggest source market has been the US and the UK. Those two do not compromise anything called the travel advisory. You remember, UK had just removed the travel ban from Uganda because of the incident in Queen Elizabeth National Park. No single person from the UK was freely coming to Uganda. If he would come because of his own. But if he would come and get issues, insurance in the UK cannot operate on that person. They just removed that thing last year. So if Mr. Samora, you're listening, I think what we want as sector players, number one, is also engage these following the international protocol through the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Speak. Now the US has issued a travel ban. I know I don't sit in the boardrooms. I know you're engaging. The Ugandan mission in Washington, DC is engaging so that they really, really reconsider us. But we should not put a ban and people just go to sleep. We should really, really engage. And then also the way we are communicating about our sector, Professor. People communicate badly about Uganda. The normal common people on the streets, they don't care. They would throw that bad kind of negative comments about a country, and that is not really, really good. So for me, that's what I can say. And also we make domestic tourism a permanent pillar. I think, Professor, this is what you wanted to listen to. Not a crisis response, but families, students, universities, corporates, churches, circles, can they move around and see the beauty of their country called Uganda? I think it's also very, very important. Otherwise, that's what we should do. Number two, Rwanda. Yeah, if someone asks about Rwanda, I refer you to your geography. If you learned about geography of East Africa, you know a country called Rwanda and where it's located, the mineral deposits, the nature. So these guys, they realize that having just maybe a few families of gorillas, they can make the whole world know as if that's where gorillas come from. These guys have invested, actually, every single day. I'm looking at the statistics from the Rwanda Development Board. They have, and for them, what they have done, they market a destination Rwanda as one destination for tourism, for investment, and for business. I think that's what we should also copy. But they have less, yes, but they have known how to repackage. I think Mr. Samora, they have really done a lot with Explore Uganda as well. But we need to take lessons from the Rwanda Development Board. They have very young, talented lobbyists in Kigali there at RDB, and they are marketing as if their whole life depends on Rwanda, and it does. So going to Aston Villa to negotiate a deal of $20 million. You see, this year alone, that deal is $20 million, and they know they will get close to $468 million out of it. They are bidding for Formula One in Rwanda. They are international UCI cycling kind of international label. These guys are not about to stop. But what they have learned is, how do we go to the bigger market with less that we have? Now, for us, we have much, but we are not talking, like you're not marketing. So I think, Andrew, that's what I can answer for that, Rwanda as well. The question for Rwanda, we need to be very intentional. Ministry, if anyone from Ministry of Finance, you'll definitely have to dedicate a budget to UTB. Give them close to 2 trillion to market. Because the guys are bringing in 1 point. If I tell you how much money they give this ministry, you'll laugh. But the biggest percentage goes to even the wage bill. It does not even go to anything to build some bigger things. Andrew, that's what I can say. I think we can, and we should not also market also on nature. We need to go into also sports tourism, the marathon, the cycling, and you're having a whole kind of idle things lying idle because we are not developing them. And then I'm not here to lament. We should shape the country, especially in the next 15 years for the development of the ATMs as well. Back to you, Andrew.
Thank you so much, Bonnie, for that response. I'm just taking one last question, and I'll read a few comments, and then I give the mic back to Dr. Edith. So one last question for you, Bonnie, coming in from Sam Salongo. Thanks very much, Bonnie, for the presentation. How do you manage these refunds to international clients, yet you have incurred some expenses which are non-refundable with your value chain in the tourism, including hotels and other sector players? The new terms adjustments are on cancellation, and refundable amounts may also limit your markets, yet Uganda is still a small growing country in the tourism sector. Government needs to support the sector and all its sector players across the value chain. So that question is coming in from Sam Salongo. And then as you respond to that, I just want to read one comment here from David Luganda. I am David Luganda. Risk communication, he's a risk communication expert, Eastern Africa. I think he's saying he thinks we need to do a de-risk financing facility or blended financing facility for your operators in Uganda during crisis and risks like what is happening now. So that's a comment I really wanted to read. So maybe you respond to Sam Salongo's question, and then I give the mic back to Dr. Edith.
Sure. In 1 minute, Sam Salongo, thanks so much. I wish I could take this in the column of New Vision for government to see. Sam, it's not easy. And I need to paint a picture for whoever is listening. Number one, clients that give us money, they give us money 1 year. Actually, last week, we concluded a safari for a client who paid in 2024 from the UK. He's called Richard. And he sent us money in 2024, September, hoping that he will come last year in August, and he didn't. He had his limbs surgery, and he postponed. And he was supposed to come this year, February. He didn't. He even sent us clients, by the way. He recommended us for business, and then later he just came July. I think July 19th. Michelle, if I'm not, I think. Sam, if you're having someone's money for a year, this business has taught me stewardship, has taught me to be. I was meeting with my friend called Emma on Saturday. I ran a bank statement for a whole year, and I think maybe for purposes of sharing with you to know, the bank statement had total credits and total debits averaging to close to $250,000. That's close to $1 billion, because it's like 800 million. And I told him, this is what goes through our business. But that's not your money, Sam. That is not your money. Don't even think about planning to construct a house for your mom, building, wedding your wife, marrying a second wife, buying a car. And now we were waiting whether this guy was going to cancel, and he had given us the money 2 years ago, almost. So the money that we get in this industry, guys pay in advance. But let me tell you the effect to this in an economy called Uganda. If they are sending you 25,000 receipts in terms of dollar to your economy, my government has earned that money. The Bank of Uganda has earned that and registers it as the Forex. Now, where is the crisis? A client telling you to go to the bank and send back $17,000 back to Mexico. That is too bad, because if you've not used that money, you'll be lucky. But number one, you'll have bought gorilla permits because they're there on availability. Two, you'll have booked all the lodges. You have a minimum of 14 days safari, takes like close to 7 lodges. You've paid close to half of that money to logistics providers. Now there is a crisis and you need to refund that money. You need to go back to your terms and conditions. What did you say? That's number one. Number two, if you say that there will be a refund, you look for that money and pay back. Maybe for permits, you may not, you may reschedule, but you have to pay back people's money. And that's what I've learned. I remember between May and June, we sent back money. Actually, I would be in Chirag every single day. I would go there, fill a transfer form, and instruct the bank to send back people's money. Others, we would withdraw for instant. Absa has a very good business model where you just wire money directly, or you get and put it on Western Union and send it back. Those are regret moments in business, I'll tell you some. So, but what have we done? Number one, you need to be very respectful of clients' money. This is calling for financial discipline in the midst of a crisis. Like I told you, for us now, running resilient models is part of our business model. Anything can happen. Right now, we're having business from travel agents, 6 safaris, and they've already sent in money. Let's say $36,000. Just imagine those people say we are not coming. You must refund that money back. So the new terms adjustments. Now remember, there is even what we call protection of the sovereignty. You see, now they're asking you, what was the source of this money? I go to the bank and I'm not happy with the way also our banking. Let me leave it at that. But they're asking you very unconnected questions about the money. Like, what is this? Actually, you do business in Uganda as if you are a thief again. What was the purpose of the money? Why are you sending it back? Why can be why? Even when they are seeing the reason. So in the tourism sector, it's not an easy thing. Government actually should know, before they communicate a crisis, they should even call a presser with us and say, guys, how much money had you gotten in advance? How will this communication affect you? Okay, Bank of Uganda, Tourism Resilient Fund, you're going to cushion these guys with, let's say, $10,000 each to continue marketing as they send back this money. But they just left us there. So it's not easy. Hotels, also some hotels, I told you that they don't refund. Like we're having close to 5,000 trade credits. Hotels and lodges telling you, you will bring new guests. For us, we are not bringing. And we have MOUs with these people. But that's what they set in their terms and conditions. And remember, these are the hotels that clients wanted to sleep in. Someone would ask, why would you book with those who don't want refund? In the conversation, they're telling you, I want to start World Waters. I want to stay with a 4 Points by Sheraton, because there's an international global chain. So what do? You have to. So, Uncle Sam, that's what's happening. And moving forward, it's tough, but allow me say this, apply these kinds of resilient models in every business you're doing, because you don't know what's hitting next. Thank you so much, Andrew. You've been very great giving me this opportunity. Dr. Dana, I can't thank you enough. And I remember I've been invited by Minister of Finance end of this month at the 10th High Growth Economic Forum to discuss how should government shape the private sector development agenda ahead of the ATMs, agriculture, tourism development, using the perspective of tourism and private sector. I will be so happy also to mention that I was invited here and made a contribution to this. I'll bring actually the questions here and the comments to that discussion at the Minister of Finance. Thank you so much. I've stretched a lot, but for the good. God bless you, entrepreneurs, and thanks for the Entrepreneurship Center.
Thank you so much, Bonny. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to end the Q&A session here. Thank you. Dr. Edith, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew Ongwen, for managing the Q&A And I would like to appreciate Mr. Bonny Kagaba once again for further interacting with us and responding to the questions and comments raised by the participants here who are logged on this morning. We appreciate you, Mr. Bonny Kagaba. Thank you for finding time once again in your busy schedule to come and talk to us. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we've gone beyond the top of the hour, but it was very necessary to listen to Mr. Bonny Kagaba, especially when he's talking about issues of uncertainties and risks and how to create resilience models in our businesses, because this cuts across all businesses. There are situations of uncertainties, situations of risks. So being resilient is very important, and building resilience models, like Bonny Kagaba has indicated, is very key and important. Allow me to appreciate Mr. Philemon Ogut on the other side, who is our sign language interpreter. Thank you for joining us this morning. And everybody who is logged on this morning, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. We've gone beyond the top of the hour, and I would like to close it here, but remind you that remember to log on again next week, same day, same time. I'd like to wish you a blessed Thursday, and bye-bye for now.
Cause the world will never see you until you do. No, they don't really care what you're going through. So you gotta show them, baby. You gotta show them the real you. You gotta give them what you've got. No, don't let them see what you're not. Cause you are strong. You are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can't be perfect, baby. Cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, 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 there's nobody in the world like you. What do you do when you can't let go? What do you say when you just don't know how you feel? And you know nobody knows how you feel. Cause everybody's got their own damn problems. So everybody's trying to find their way. And day by day is a struggle. In this world, you know you have to hustle. Just know that you're not alone. You don't always have to be strong all by yourself. I said it's okay to ask for help. Now listen, people will find you, but they don't define you. And you will find people who help redesign you. People will find you, but they don't define you. And you will find people who help redesign you. You are a work of art. Bet you didn't think you'd come this far. Now here you are. Baby, you are strong. You are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can't be perfect, baby. Cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, 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 there's nobody in the world like you.